Those in the know can save lots of money on airfare with a few simple tricks, such as buying family tickets separately. Here with the details and more ticketing tips is WSJ's middle seat columnist, Scott McCartney. Hi, Scott. Thanks so much for being with us.
Sure. Good to be with you, Tanya.
So, Scott, I recently learned this the hard way because I bought 3 tickets for myself and my kids so I could use my miles. And when my husband bought his separately, his ticket was about $100 less. Why are individual tickets often cheaper than when you buy in a group?
Well, it turns out airline reservation systems have to, when you have the same reservation, you have to have the same price all across the board. So airlines take the highest price. If you're shopping for 4 tickets, 3 of them there may be 3 seats available at a lower price, but the 4th one is at a higher price. Turns out you're going to pay the higher price for all 4 tickets. So shop one at a time and see if there's a price difference and book them separately if you have to.
Oh, I wish I'd known that. So then, Scott, should you go to the airline after you buy your individual tickets and link the reservations?
Yeah, that's right. You can call and ask them to link those reservations together so that if they start moving seat assignments around, there's a better chance they'll keep you together. If the flight gets delayed or canceled, they keep the family together. In theory, it doesn't always work, but it certainly helps.
Right. I guess it's a risk you can take to save a couple $100s. All right. Now, aside from buying tickets individually, what are some other ticketing tricks?
Well, you can still find savings with codeshare flights. 2 airlines are partners. They sell the same flights under their own flight number, and sometimes they sell at different prices. American and U.S. Airways are still in this situation where they're not on one reservation system yet. So you go to the American's website, you find one price. You go to U.S. Airways website, they're selling each other's flights, but sometimes at a different price. Certainly works internationally, sometimes with codeshare partners. Korean Air may sell a flight to Seoul differently than Delta may, and it may be on the same airplane.
Takes a little extra work, but I guess you can save a considerable amount of money. What about, Scott, buying 2 tickets when they are actually cheaper than 1?
Yeah, this happens a lot with fare sales in particular cities. I saw an example recently where Southwest was having fare sales out of Dallas Love Field. You go from Washington to Dallas to Phoenix, for example. You can get 2 cheap tickets out of the Dallas sale. Versus if you looked at 1 ticket from Washington to Phoenix, you're probably going to make a connection in Dallas anyway.
Right.
But that would be priced more. You can also do this on vacation destinations. Go to the Bahamas, get a cheap ticket to Nassau, and then a cheap local ticket on Bahamas Air or whatever to your actual destination. If you want to go to from New York to a specific small island, you're probably going to pay a much higher price.
Very, very good advice. Now, also, you say that we can use a discount airline to create our own connections sometimes, especially going to Europe, for instance.
Yeah, I love to do this in Europe. You can fly to if you want to go to London or Paris, it's typically more expensive, or Rome is another example, typically more expensive than flying to Brussels or Amsterdam or somewhere else. So fly to the cheap city and use that as your home base, and use one of the local discount airlines in Europe, EasyJet, Ryanair, sometimes Air Berlin, Vueling out of Madrid. There are lots of opportunities for really cheap flights on discount airlines in Europe. You have to pack light. The discount airlines will hit you with huge baggage fees. Sometimes they use remote airports, so bus ride may be involved or something like that. But the savings can be tremendous, and you may take a day or 2 to look at Brussels or Amsterdam or wherever your sort of point of departure is in Europe.
That's true. If you're on vacation, might as well explore a little bit. Now, Scott, you also have a few don'ts for us as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of attention on hidden city ticketing, back-to-back ticketing. These are long-time tricks that travel agents knew about. Airlines certainly know about them, and airlines have specifically prohibited them. So hidden city is say you're going to Cincinnati, but Cincinnati is an expensive city. You can make a connection in Cincinnati and go on to Chicago for a cheaper price. So just buy the ticket and get off the plane in Cincinnati. That's illegal. And the penalties, airlines do have systems that'll catch you. The penalties are really harsh. They can charge you the full fare to Cincinnati, far more than you would have paid. They can take away your elite status and frequent flyer programs. They can even confiscate the miles in your frequent flyer account. So
not worth it. Sorry. Not worth and what about back-to-back ticketing? What's that?
So back-to-back ticketing is when you use two you're making two trips to the same destination, and you ticket it so that you have Saturday night stay on both flights. You may be going out on Tuesday, coming back on Thursday, and you're going to make the same trip 2 weeks later. This works more with international flights now that have Saturday night stay requirements. A lot of domestic flights don't. But you book it so that you go out on one ticket, come back on another ticket, and then use the return on the second ticket, then the return on the first ticket. So to the airline, it looks like you stayed over Saturday night on both trips, even though you didn't. Airlines prohibit this, and there again, they have systems to look for it. If you do it regularly, more likely you're going to get caught. And again, the penalties are pretty severe.
All right, another one not to do. All right, thank you so much, Scott, for all of those tips. I wish I'd spoken to you a couple of weeks ago. Thanks so much for that.
Sure, sorry about that.